Okay, looks like we're live. If I can just bring up the comments, let's see who is in the house. We've got Abashed Banjo was here at 10 to 8. Hopefully they stuck around because they're not going to want to miss this one. VegMet Codbot is in the chat, already given us their opinion on what they think about the topic. They say it's okay-ish, but certainly not preferable to buy vegan stuff from non-vegan companies. If there's a fully vegan company in the area, we should go to that one, not the non-vegan one. Leon is in the chat. They avoid non-vegan companies like a plague, apparently. So we've got some strong opinions too. That's pretty good. Michael Askew, hello, vegan lovelies. It's nice to have you, Michael. VegMet Copbot again. There you are. Grumpy Vegan Grandad, who let him in? Sorry to see you there. Brilliant. Okay, I'm sure a few more will come in. We got about 10 watching, so that's not too bad. I'm sure the numbers will build up in a moment. So yes, today we're talking about whether vegans should buy from non-vegan companies. We've got Burger King's Impossible Whopper, KFC's Vegan Burger, and Subway's Meatless Meatball Marinara. If non-vegans can get the same food at the same prices from the same places, why wouldn't they? But at the same time, should we be supporting places like KFC, McDonald's, and Pizza Hut when they're responsible for the deaths of so many animals? Or does supporting them actually help the vegan movement if we're buying the vegan product? And where do we draw the line? To discuss this issue, I'm joined today by a group of hand-picked vegans who are going to help us understand the topic a little bit more. So, first off, he made waves in the vegan community with his wind instrument skills. He is a master of character work and parody, and most importantly, veganism literally saved his life. And he isn't afraid to use this information to save others too. Please welcome Mark, the vegan mooncat.
Yay! I was backstage, and then you said I was handpicked, and I felt like so special at that point. Grumpy wasn't handpicked, was he? So I'm infinitely like that, head and shoulders above him now. He must feel so bad. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not.
It's not his fault. He's at the bottom of my friends list, like lowest priority.
Well,
but that's okay.
I know.
He's there if I need him.
Thanks for having me on, Rhys. Really appreciate you bringing me on for this discussion because it divides the vegan community from what I've seen. So it's definitely worth discussing. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And while everyone else is in the backstage, what do you hate most about the other guests?
Oh, what do I hate about? Well, I hate that Vegan Yak has better equipment than me and literally looks like one of these channels that tells you how to look good on YouTube. And plus, he's pretty handsome. That pisses me off. That annoys me tremendously. So, that's a problem. Leon, he annoys me just because he's so awesome, and he does comedy stuff on his channel, which is in direct competition with me. That annoys me. And Vegeta, because he is Vegeta.
That is a very fair point. So before we start, just give us in brief, what are your thoughts on this topic before we have the discussion?
Oh, before we have anyone. For the most part, I always now this isn't really because I'm being crazy about things. I generally, for the most part, try to, if you're talking, let me get this right in my head. I buy from non-vegan companies. I think I have to buy from non-vegan companies because we're not just talking about Burger King, KFC, and all the other fast food joints. We're talking about Asda, Tesco, all the supermarkets. They're not vegan, they sell products that aren't vegan as well. So if I was to draw the line and go, I'm only shopping at places that are completely vegan, I don't know where to shop. Because my choices are fairly limited at that point, and I think I think one of the things about Burger King and everything else, one thing that plays on my mind a little bit, and I don't judge any other vegan who this doesn't matter to. Cross contamination always pops up in my head as well. How are they preparing the food? What are they doing? Is it come in contact with something else? Not that cross contamination is a big issue as far as ethics are concerned. I don't
disgust factor.
Yeah, it's more of a disgust, thing like you say. It's like, can't believe they had my food next to that, and, some of it could have leaked on there. I did something today, which I could speak about later, which is the first time I think I've eaten something which was potentially cross-contaminated.
Okay, well,
just because I wanted to give
that as a bit of a teaser.
Because I wanted to
make
give
sure
it a try. And
sorry,
I wanted in. Sorry, I wanted. Sorry, I know what you mean. And in preparation, I wanted to see how I felt about that because I normally avoid it like the plague.
We'll find out a bit more about that later on. And okay, you're all right, mate. Okay, we're jumping over to the other side of the pond now to find a guy who likes to go in depth on a topic. He takes anti-vegan arguments and lays out exactly why they're nonsense. His thumbnails make me jealous. And he woke up especially early this morning to join us today. Please welcome Walter, a.k.a. Vegan Yak.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for having me. And welcome to me.
Yeah, great. Thanks, man.
Welcome to you.
How early is it for you today?
I don't know. It's 7:30
in the morning.
I
didn't know they did that.
In the States, they do have AM. Yeah, it does happen.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And just before we get into any discussion at all, what's your current position on this topic?
Yeah, I would say I fall pretty much in alignment with the Vegan Mooncat's first initial take there, where I mean, it's inevitable that you're going to be supporting non-vegan companies. So I don't think you can avoid that entirely yet in our world. Maybe when we get to that point, you'll have the moral imperative to do that. But for now, I think you're going to have to buy from non-vegan companies. So I think it's something that you should do. I do think that it helps with the accessibility, but I don't think it's the only requirement that we should think about, because even though something might be vegan, I think about like the vegan Kit Kat, which we don't have, I don't think, here in the States. And it's like, yeah, absolutely, it's vegan or whatever. You can go buy it. You're not going to harm animals maybe, but it's from Nestle. And Nestle is a shit show. Are we allowed to curse here?
Within reason. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, I already did. So
I did it as well. I'm going to try and limit
bodily functions.
I am going to try and limit it to that one. And not continually. Okay. I don't want to like get to Rhys kicked off YouTube or anything.
Let's say we get 3 each. I think that's a nice amount.
Oh wow, I'm going to save them.
Me too.
Really plant them hard at some point. Yeah, so I think there's other things to take into consideration, because just because a product is vegan doesn't mean that it's not causing harm to animals through a different path or something, or human beings in some way, or that the company in itself is just like so terrible that we should try to boycott them for other reasons. So I think there's other things to take into consideration beyond just whether a product is vegan or not. But in general, I think you're going to have to buy not vegan products from non-vegan companies. So
excellent. Some quite in-depth answers, actually. Really appreciate that. We should have 2 more guests. Plant-Based Leon was in the backstage. His signal is awful. Hopefully we'll get him on a little bit later. We've also got Vegan Mujita, who promised me he would be here, but he's just let us down, frankly.
He's made you look a fool, Rhys.
Yeah.
Are you going to accept that?
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, that's the question.
Here's what I'm going to do. You'll see a scrolling text at the bottom here. One of them says, subscribe to my guest channels. And to go in the description, do not click the link to his channel.
That's fair. Although I think the reverse psychology might have just gotten him some extra subs. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I did feel like you were going to go like sort of full sort of British or whatever, and go, I'm going to write him a stern letter telling him how disappointed I am with his behavior. That's what I'm going to do. It's like that's as far as we go.
But you know what we have a surprise guest. You may know him from rummaging around in your bins. You may have seen him on your TV trying to nick it, trying to steal it from your living room. His name is Dan Shepherd. You may have seen him on Netflix, or you may know him as Grumpy Vegan Grandad.
Yes, I've hacked you. I've managed to hack onto your stream. Yes.
I wish I'd been so hard on him now, is it?
Yeah. Put him up.
So here's a
Put
question
him
for you.
up.
Grumpy, what are you doing here?
Eh? No idea. I just saw the stream and I saw that I wasn't invited. So what I thought I'd do is try and hack onto your stream. So I've used all my talents and I've managed to do it. I've got on. Yes.
Well, fair play, mate. Fair play. I'll bring up some of the comments, some of the new guests, and then I'll ask you a couple questions if that's
Do
all
we
right.
need to ask Grumpy his opinions briefly, like we did with us?
We should. I just want to give some attention to the people watching, so they don't think I'm horrible, and then we'll come back.
True enough.
We've got Muddy Paws coming to tell you off for a start, Mooncat.
I sorry, Muddy Paws. I won't do it again. Well, I don't know. He's giving me another 2, so I might slip them out later.
We got
swears, that is.
We got. This is a very important topic, but they can't stick around. So why am I saying hello to you then? They can't stick around.
Seemed harsh.
When they watch it.
Oh no. Bo is in the chat. Hello everyone. Rhys, Mooncat, and Vegan Yak. No one else. Yak, haven't seen you in ages. Hope you've been well. Yeah, you haven't been on YouTube for a little while, have you?
That's true. Yeah, I've been moving and getting married for a second time and doing a bunch of things, but I'll be back. I'm back on right now, if you've noticed.
That's true.
Right this second. But
I did think that.
Oh,
Martin.
Vegan Yak, you sound ace. I need a good microphone. You sound so smooth and silky.
I've already complained about that.
Yeah.
Martin says, "Don't worry, we all think you're horrible, and that won't change." I'm not sure. I can't remember the context, but I'll assume that's aimed at Dan. I would hope.
Okay.
Luke is in the chat,
Hey,
and there you go. Bo is saying hello to GVG2.
Yes,
Brilliant.
I got fans.
Dan, where do you stand on this topic?
Well, I just want to show you something. Can you put that screenshot up, please? Because this is like plant-based bacon, everybody. Plant-based bacon. Is there anything you see about this plant-based bacon?
Bacon, unsmoked bacon cured with plant. Is it actually plant-based or is it just cured?
It's
Cured
bacon.
with plant-based.
It's bacon. But they how can they do this? How can they say this will make somebody who's new to plant-based or veganism pick that up and think it's not real bacon?
Yeah, I thought that was it when I was
It's
looking at it.
dangerous.
I thought that looks far too like actual pig flesh to me.
It is pig flesh. It is pig flesh. It's sinew. It's muscle. It's tissue. And
That's
they're putting
tricky.
plant-based on it. That cannot be legit. That cannot be sort of legal.
They're getting away with it though, cured with plant-based ingredients.
They're jumping on the bandwagon. So this, Rhys, is the reason I'm sort of changing my views a little bit now because, yeah, I agree with non-vegan companies producing vegan products. I do agree with that. However, Mooncat, you said Asda, Tesco and all that are not vegan, but Tesco and all the big supermarkets aren't responsible directly for the death of millions of animals, whereas Burger King, McDonald's...
Oh, they're in the chain.
Yes, they're in the chain, but they're in the chain as consumers, just as we are consumers in the chain.
There is a big question about where we draw the line, isn't there?
Exactly, but
we'll come to that more.
But
I would
also
say Richmond's plant-based bacon, which is actually plant-based. Where the kids had it the other day, and I tried a piece, and it was actually really good. and that isn't animals, so that was good.
it was lacking a little bit of taste, as far as I'm concerned. It's not as tasty as the other ones.
All right, well, yeah, I think that was my
reasonable.
kid's favourite so far.
It looked great on my burger when I did my stacked double cheeseburger. That looked epic. But yeah, my biggest problem is that when I talk to people who aren't vegan and they speak to me, the biggest drawback of them not following either a plant-based or a vegan lifestyle is convenience.
Yeah.
And this is the problem where we've got to start juggling, because if things aren't convenient, if I say to them, well, you can go to Greg's, you can go to McDonald's, you can go to Burger King, you can go to KFC, you can get vegan products there. It's like, oh wow, okay, so it isn't that bad now. But if we boycott these products, even though they do abuse animals, that sort of convenience disappears, and we can't sort of. We've got to play the long game. We can't. Animals are going to get hurt in the long game. It's like dropping a bomb in World War II. We knew it was going to kill innocent women and children, but the long game was we had to win the war. So unfortunately, we've got to take casualties as we're on this journey to fight for a vegan world. There's no way of avoiding that. I was asked to investigate a farm that was breeding pigs, and I went down and it looked okay. It didn't look bad. And unfortunately, it's only worth infiltrating farms and filming the insides of farms if they're doing something wrong, if they're hurting the animals. That's an unfortunate thing. We've got to... It's no use risking it and going filming farms if they're not doing anything wrong, because there's no shock value. It's got to be shock value to shock people into making a decision. So... Again, it causes harm trying to get people to stop causing harm, unfortunately, and that's my view.
I said excellent take on this. not excellent that that's happening.
No, it's not. But I mean, what else can you do?
I know.
It's only the shock value that will shock people into making a decision. If all the cows are in the field eating grass, and it all looks beautiful with the sunset behind them, nobody's going to think that milk is abusive, are they? So
before we move on, we do have one more person in backstage waiting to come on. He's a guy who has a video to subscriber ratio that we can all be jealous of. He's never uploaded a video, but he has over 100 subscribers, and nobody knows what he looks like outside of his profile picture. But today, ladies and gentlemen, he knows he is rolling with the big dogs, and he's decided to turn on his camera. So everyone, please do say hello to the Vegan Mujita.
Hello.
Hey.
He's more handsome than I thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
I see you're not good with compliments, Wahita.
They just kind of go in one ear out the other one at this point.
He's been complimented far too many times for it to have any effect whatsoever.
Correct, mate.
Yeah.
So, Rhys.
Oh no!
I showed up early enough to hear you slandering me.
Did you for real? Oh no!
Yeah.
I did the same thing to Grumpy.
Yes. If you want to know why I'm late, it was very important. I fell asleep.
Mm-hmm.
2.5 hours ago, and I overslept. So there you go.
That's
fair.
it's happened to the best of us.
So I woke
But you can
up.
make it up. You can make it
So
up by
the-
turning your volume up a little bit and telling us where you stand on this topic.
At the moment, I'm a bit more neutral, but I'm going to be neutral because I don't like to say things without evidence, and I've struggled to find the paper, what I was looking for that was talking about the way that these companies spend their money. So that's unfortunate. But I'll at least just go down the line, and I'll just say this is not technically my position, and I know that the common argument against this is that when you look at the where the money goes, that they would spend their profits to support animal agriculture, at least certain companies like McDonald's, for example, where you'll think, oh yes, I'm doing good, I'm supporting the plant-based foods, and they'll do more of that. And their line of argumentation goes that since they're going, okay, well, now we've got your money, and we'll put it towards
Lobbying and
yeah, exactly, because they are a company that pretty much thrives and supports that. Whereas, for example, let's say your grocery store it's a grocery store. They're going to sell whatever, to get by, whereas McDonald's has actual stake in its existence involved.
Thanks, man.
Which goes into it. Like I said, I'm not going to hold this position. I'm going to be neutral, but I was going to put that out there because I've heard it, and I've got to find that paper or article that I saw showing the numbers.
Well, that's why we're all here today, to make sense of it, try to come to some kind of conclusion, or at least just come out of this more knowledgeable than we were before we came in.
So I'm assuming that we all have a job and pay taxes, correct?
Thanks for that, Grumpy. I appreciate
Unfortunately.
you rubbing it in there. I've just been made redundant. You know.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about that. But
can I use one of my swears now, Rhys?
Yeah, go on.
Dickhead.
Is that it? You used one of your swears and you only said dickhead. Wow.
Yeah, because I'm being nice on Rhys's stream.
Such a wuss.
I've still got one more. I'll leave that for the end of the stream. Though.
So, listen. My point is that we all work for a living. We all pay taxes. Some of us work for a living. Some of us are actually scrounging from the government right now. But I'm happy to keep you in like vegan food, mate. But we pay taxes, so therefore, by default, we are supporting the fishing industry and we are supporting the animal agricultural industry. So, in actual fact, no matter what we do, whether we go to vegan-only places, we are still paying money towards abuse of animals and abuse of the seas and oceans. So, by default, we're still contributing.
I mean, I guess that's partly, though, necessity, right? I mean, you don't have to go to Burger King and buy an Impossible Whopper. You know, you do have to pay taxes, or at least you should, if you don't want bad things to happen to you, you know, in theory, in the States at least. So, so I don't know. I'm hoping someone in the comments too, or even just amongst ourselves, we can play enough of the devil's advocate, because I'd like to be challenged more on this topic and be open to changing my mind here, but I don't see any way around it. So, but yeah, I think the difference there would just be the necessity of what you have to do. You got to pay taxes if you have a job, right?
Yeah. Well, I do have 10 questions I've prepared. By the end of that, we should hopefully have all the answers we need. So I'll give you your first one. With huge companies now including plant-based options in their menus, what has that done for veganism? Because we're talking about positive things right now. If there's no volunteers, I'll just pick on you, if that's all right.
I'll volunteer.
Go on, Dan.
From what I said before, it's we live in a capitalist country, and like let me give you an example, right? I smoke on this e-cigarette, yeah? When e-cigarettes first started appearing in the UK, all the major tobacco companies were kicking off. But then they realised, hold on a minute, why don't we just make this shit? And we can profit off that anyway. Rather than fight it, we can profit off it. And then it took off. More and more people got e-cigarettes instead of cigarettes. Now, my view is if these companies start producing vegan options and these vegan options take off, then they'll introduce more. Look at Greggs. Greggs started off with a sausage roll. Then it went to a steak bake. Now they're introducing more and more stuff. The CEO's gone vegan.
Really?
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, so you see, once you start seeing profit, it's all about money. Unfortunately, it's all about profit. These, like it or not, these companies have a monopoly on what we choose to eat, and they've all got fingers in pies that we're not aware of. So, it's one of those. It's do we boycott it and stop that, or do we let it carry on and hope that they change completely, which could be inevitable.
I think the thing is as well, though, Rhys, you were talking about the supermarkets, etc., stocking vegan food. They've always stocked vegan food. They've always stocked potatoes. They've always stocked fruits and vegetables. Sure. Always rice, pasta, all these different things. And I think what we're more talking about is like meat replacements and convenience foods, because I mean, when I'm talking about it and I go, oh yeah, you can get lentils for this price and whatever for that price. Most people don't want to cook. Most people are lazy. Most people just want to like microwave something or scrape something out of a tin or pick up some like chicken pieces, or chicken style pieces to pop in the mouth on the go. So that's where these new options are helping with the people who want the convenience of being able to go in the morning and pick up like a wrap for their dinner, that they're going to have breakout on the lunch break or whatever. So I think we've always had vegan options. I think it's just the convenience stuff that's but also at the same time, and I've spoken to people in the past, as I'm sure we all have, and they all say, oh, I can't stand vegan food. And then you go, well, you've never had chips? That's fries for you guys, I think. I think we say it the other way around, don't we? You've never had pasta? You've never had this? You've never had that? And they go, yeah, I suppose so. So I think the other thing is as well, in a lot of the, not only, even if something's been vegan for ages, they're now sticking the word vegan on it. So I've been in the supermarket and there's something that's been on the shelf for forever and a day, and it's never stated that it was vegan before, but now it's got vegan written all over the damn thing.
I've got a problem with that, Mooncat. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I have a major problem with that, because the people you are talking to, right, are set in a system of eating, and everything you talk about there is a side dish to the main part of the dish, which is meat or cheese or eggs. So it's not a matter of like, oh, there's loads of vegan stuff out there. Yes, we know that 3/4 of our plate is vegan, but people are more
but that's my point. A lot of people
don't
don't even consider that it is vegan.
No, but that's not the point. It doesn't matter whether it is or isn't vegan. It's still in their heads that main part of their meal is that piece of meat. Full stop. Yeah. That is the protein. That is the minerals, vitamins. That is what's going through their head, and that is where we need convenience to help people transition, so they can take these meat replacement products and use them to transition into veganism.
No, yeah, definitely. But and I'm not saying that everyone needs to be whole food and just eat that and shouldn't use any of the convenience products or anything along those lines. All I'm saying is they've always had vegan stuff. It's just no one's really ever considered it to be vegan. It's just food.
It's just the way people think.
And the fact that now they've got all these extra options is that's the stuff that's new to the supermarket. It's helping veganism, obviously, for the masses. But it's also, I think it's quite good that some stuff that has always been vegan and people just don't know it. They're labeling it now, because when we were at a party, I was speaking to a lady there, and she literally said she hates all vegan food, and I said, all right, and I said, you've never had pasta, blah blah blah, and she went, oh yeah, I eat all of that. I said, so that's vegan, and she goes, yeah, but like you say, Grumpy, then she's gonna say, oh, but I normally stick tuna in my pasta or whatever, what would I put in place of that? And then that's where all these I don't like them, but like these Tuno and all these other products,
blend chickpeas with mayo and mustard, and it is one of the best sort of egg mayo.
It is, but that's not going in your pasta
type thing. Yeah, of course it will. Of course it will in your pasta.
I don't know. Yeah, but so yeah, I think that's a good thing that they're labeling things, so that makes it just easier for people to know where they are and what products they can buy, because you don't want to pick up a bag of pasta thinking, oh, pasta's vegan, and then not even think about the fact that it's got egg in it. So it's always handy to have the right labeling.
What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, in what to the original question of what has the plant-based options at these larger corporations done, in the terms of numbers so far, I think we're all pretty aware that it's nothing. In the terms of overall slaughter numbers and things like that, it's not made an impact yet. But I don't think that that's just because. I think that there's supply and demand, and it takes time. And I think to Grumpy's point is that this is about normalizing it. This is about making it accessible to everybody. And I feel as activists sometimes too, we're talking out of both sides of our mouths a little bit. We're oh, go vegan and stuff. And that's what's going to help all of these companies realize that we should, have all these vegan products. And then eventually they'll release more vegan products, and then we can all eat them and all this sort of stuff. And then it's but also when they make them, boycott the hell out of them. Definitely don't eat them. It doesn't make any sense. So I think it's about normalizing it, making it accessible to everybody, because ultimately that's what we're going to have to deal with. We're not going to abolish the capitalist society tomorrow either. So as long as we're in the capitalist society, Burger King's going to exist. KFC is going to exist. So either they're going to be releasing vegan products and hopefully changing their menu over to vegan menus, or they're going to be having animal-based products. And although, like, going back to my Nestle example, I don't like Nestle, but I'd rather them be selling vegan Kit Kats than not vegan Kit Kats. So ultimately, I think like it's just inevitable. I don't know that we have much choice here, like unless we can abolish the capitalist society at the same time and somehow get rid of these big corporations that are going to use some of their money for lobbying and everything else. Like they're going to be here, so let's get them to sell vegan products. That's my opinion. I think so. I think overall, what's happened so far is good because it means that it's starting to be normalized. Like it's crazy that some of my friends from like high school that are like the biggest like kind of traditional like jock type guys and stuff like that are like, oh yeah, wow, I tried the Impossible Whopper. That's like the messages I get sometimes. And I tried this vegan product from this fast food chain. And you're like, I would have never thought that person would have done that. And they probably wouldn't have if it wasn't for those companies offering it and it being a little bit more mainstream. So that's what I think.
I see what you mean. While we're inside the capitalist system, we need to play by its rules to win, I guess, for lack of a better word. I'm not sure if I agree just the one point you made there about how much impact it may have made. Because I guess if you consider just the plant-based Whopper, all the Whoppers bought around the world since it's come out, how many animals is that? You know what I mean? I know what you're saying. It's a very small percentage.
No, I just think, and I think the numbers are changing, but like some of the most recent studies were showing that like even with the release of all of these plant-based products, slaughter numbers are still increasing.
Is that to do with population, is it?
Well, I'm sure it's both, and of course, like we're just consuming more than ever, especially like in Asia and stuff. It's just meat consumption is on the rise. So I think there's just things like that are going to look negative because it's like, well, we're not doing anything. We're not making any impact, but we are. It just takes time. Supply and demand takes time. And it's one of those things like Burger King's not going to go out, do one test run of like one burger in one restaurant or something, and then go, oh, you know what? Vegan is successful. Let's just ditch meat entirely. That's not going to work. Yeah. And subsidies, Trash Cart gets to see the comments. Like subsidies are also not going to go away immediately either. Like the government's not going to go, you know what? Vegan's picking up. So let's scrap all the subsidies for animal products and let's throw it towards plants. Like it just takes time. So I think so far, we haven't seen much of the impact numbers wise, but that doesn't mean that there's not an impact and that there's not change. So.
Okay. And Wujita, do you have anything to add to that? Sorry, you're on mute.
I was busy trying to do some research. I would, let's see, the initial question was any positives.
Do you want it back? There you go.
Any positives, or what has it done in the positive sense? Well, obviously we've already gone over that it's made vegan. It's making veganism more mainstream. Let's see, and then I don't know. I don't really know.
If you want to, I can make you the first guy to answer the second question.
I don't think there's really much more. I don't think there's much more vegan meat on that bone.
That's okay. Okay,
Can
let me ask you this.
Do that because
Yes.
I was saying about Grumpy, and I completely agree with him. The fact that obviously, when you speak to most people, the main thing that they think the main part of their dish when they're not vegan or whatever is some kind of animal-based sort of product. So offering them alternatives for that, makes perfect sense. But all I'm saying is basically, a lot of the time, even if you've got an Impossible Whopper, or like a Beyond Burger a Beyond Burger or something, in the supermarket, people aren't going to live off just a Beyond Burger. So having vegans splattered over as many products as possible, not only does it just get the word in everyone's eye line constantly, which I think is a great thing, it also shows them, that vegans aren't just eating grass. So, I didn't realize that was vegan. I didn't realize that was vegan. I didn't realize that was vegan. So maybe it's not as difficult as I want. And I'm not saying they all need to live off lentils and like sleep on a bed of hay, or anything like that. But it's, I think a lot of people just don't know how much stuff, not just talking about fresh fruit and veg, in the supermarket is vegan. And I personally think it's good to have these options, but actually just labeling products that are accidentally vegan or whatever you want to call it as vegan, it can be I don't know. I think that's more impactful than replacement meat. If you see what I mean. I might be wrong about that. I just think that has had a very positive impact, having stuff so people know that we're not just eating grass.
I mean,
and especially with the Beyond Burger.
Who goes to all these places all the time? Anyway, I can't remember the last time I ever went to a burger joint or anything.
But I bet you pass them a lot. And you see
no, I was talking about supermarkets with Beyond Burgers and stuff in.
Do you know the only lifesaver for me as a trucker when I'm on the road? Obviously, I'm in a 45-foot trailer. I can't go down the local high street. I can't go into the big supermarkets for obvious reasons. And the Greggs have appeared on every single services all over the UK.
They're everywhere.
And it's been a lifesaver for me when I'm absolutely starving to be able to go in there and go and grab myself like a steak bake, a sausage roll, a Belgian bun and a coffee with soya milk. It's been a lifesaver. It's, that convenience is so good. And I mean, how many truckers are there in the UK? There's obviously not enough because we've got a shortage and the food might rise because of this. But how many of them truckers, if they were vegan and there were none of these options, would they even bother? They wouldn't. I mean, all right, there's laziness involved and not making my own food, but it's not always feasible when you do a 12, 15-hour day.
Wasn't the Belgian bun from them always vegan, though?
Apparently so, yeah, but even
and that's what I'm talking about. No one knew.
Accidentally vegan, yeah.
And then when they said it was vegan, it's now convenient for you because you can have it, and you don't go and have to chew on the bush.
So
I mean, grass, sort of like bush,
I do.
I don't want to know what you did last night, Mooncat.
I
slept.
Something that I thought
Where is
about.
your missus?
She was on a night shift.
I do have something that I thought about while I was over here stewing my ideas, and I was thinking about the fact that we brought up the fact that veganism has become more mainstream, and what came to mind was I started thinking about how this idea, with the perpetuation of vegan products rather than calling them plant-based, there's been that large wave of people who still think veganism is a diet. But then I thought about a moment where I'm sitting here doing what I do, and I hear in the background whatever television show my grandma's watching. I can hear whatever plot's going on. The son has gone vegan, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Can't wait to hear whatever. And then I keep listening, and I hear in this show, this mainstream television, and I hear the father making all these really stupid arguments, and it wasn't under the typical guise of lol stupid vegans. The tone was, your typical comedic tone of, look at the father, he's such a fucking oaf. I guess that's my first of three. And then and then you hear the son actually demonstrate that he's not just I just don't want to eat plants. He actually gives a cogent argument about not wanting to support the exploitation and death of animals. And I just sat there going, wow, that's actual accurate representation of the vegan position on mainstream television. And as small as that may seem, people watch a lot of fucking television, especially old people. And have people witness an actual accurate representation of veganism on television is a very large thing. For people to both consider that and to actually understand, rather than going, look at these uppity vegans, they think they're special complete plants, to actually go, oh, this is actually about the animals, which I find very important.
You've just reminded me of another thing as well. I remember seeing my first vegan advert on TV for a vegan product, and it was like, yes, we've arrived. It felt great. Even the shampoos and other stuff. There's a lot on British TV now. Every other advert is like, oh, new vegan formula, vegan this, vegan that. It's great. And then you see all the carny adverts. It's like, first of all, you'll see something for a big steak, and then you'll see indigestion tablets, then you'll see erectile dysfunction tablets, and then you'll see another steak advert. It's like, it's all there in front of us on these adverts being sort of beamed into us.
Yes.
That shut everybody up.
No, you're right.
Everyone's thinking about their erectile dysfunction right now, aren't they?
I was just thinking you were speaking from personal experience.
You just chew the bush, vegan Mooncat. You sure?
Mm-hmm. It's better than what you just had.
So I have got these questions numbered, but I'm not going to go in order. I'm just going to go as the conversation goes. So here's question number 4. Does purchasing these products have any negative effect on the lives of animals? Grumpy's nodding.
Yeah, of course it does. Like I said before, it's everything we do is having a negative effect until we get to a tipping point where we are at least 30-40% of the population, where we can lobby the government, get them to stop funding, stop using our taxes to fund farming, fishing, etc. Then yeah, we're going to have to carry on. The only way I can put it is we can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. I know it's not very vegan, but that's the way to put it.
That's the next one. That's the next swear word.
Sorry.
Excellent. Should we go to Mark there?
Go flash the question. Flash the question again. I was hypnotized by the washing being folded behind Grumpy before. It's just like I don't know, ASMR. I forget what it's called now. Does purchasing these products have any negative effects on the lives of animals? Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things that I hadn't really thought about until I heard Ellie, Vegan Gaze, talk about it a little bit was that, and I don't know why I had not thought about it. Maybe just being oblivious to things like humans can be, is the fact that she was talking about. I think it was when one of the larger sort of dairy producers bought some plant-based brand of milk. Can't remember which one it was now.
Owns Alpro. Is that it?
I can't remember which one it was now. And basically she was saying, you think you're doing the best thing. You think you're buying like the plant-based option, but then really, that they're using the money that you are buying these plant-based products with to prop up their other businesses, and use that in a negative fashion towards animals. And then I started reading about that more, and, there's a lot of it around where, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a thing. You want these companies to start doing plant-based options and go that direction, and you want them to sort of stop harming animals and reduce the amount of animal products. But are we, by buying products from companies like large meat companies that are also now maybe giving you a meat alternative product, are we just aiding them in harming more animals? It's really, are they really listening to us? Or are they just or are they just using that money to do just as much harm as they were before, but making some extra cash on top as well? I don't know.
What do you do? You can't follow the money.
I know it's a bit of a funny one, really. So yeah, I'm sure there's loads of harm being done. I mean, my lad, he's 16. He was applying for some jobs because he's just left school and he's waiting to start, secondary education, the next level of education. And he applied for a job at a shoe shop. And he applied for one. I don't know if you have it in other areas of the world, but it's called Clark's here. I said that that's not the best place to work. Last time I went in there, they didn't have a single shoe that wasn't made of leather. I think now when I looked on the website, they've introduced a few shoes that aren't leather. So you think, maybe you should go in and buy them from them to sort of like encourage them to reduce their leather lines and introduce more of these. But then you think, I don't know. I don't know if it'd help.
What's that company that's just declared it's not using fur anymore? Isn't
that was Canada Goose?
Canada Goose. And I think that Wuxley have contacted them and said, look, if you want to go down free as well, speak to us and we'll help you do that. So,
nice.
I haven't looked much into that. Have they given a time frame?
Yeah, 2023.
Lucas just brought up a good point. Well, Leon did via Luke. They say that the taste comparisons when developing alternatives means a dead animal has to be involved in the initial stages. I think beyond, I could be wrong here. I believe they actively taste test against animals.
He does, yeah. The CEO does.
He does. So what do we think of that? Is that like a small price to pay to save many other cows? Or I don't know. What are your thoughts?
This is the position I take when it comes to like Beyond Meat in particular, is that I definitely I see a company that kind of spits in my face, where if I do not want to support animal exploitation, and they just directly will purchase animal parts for their testing, so that they can't have my money. It's not happening. At the same time, I see that for someone who would otherwise have an animal burger, I'm not going to tell them anything. I would rather that they buy that than an animal burger. But for me as a vegan, I will not be purchasing their products until they stop doing that. And if they don't, then I just won't be buying from them.
Excellent. Can I just pause there? Sorry. Somebody else is behind in the backstage. You may know him as the guy being harassed by an anthropomorphic lemon. You may have seen him laying down some banging tunes in support of veganism. His cooking videos, his challenge videos, and his comedic timing in general is a breath of fresh air in the vegan content world. I'm speaking, of course, about plant-based Leon.
Hey.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello, Leon.
Oh, now there's two brown faces in here.
Leon, what's your position on this? Is it okay to buy non-vegan products?
Rhys, man, that was an amazing intro. Thank you very much, honestly. Yeah, I'm hoping you guys can hear me well, because I was saying earlier, I've moved exactly, got competition.
I think there's a bit of a delay, Leon.
Where is he? Is he in Australia? Or is he in Birmingham?
I mean, I'm in Thailand, you know. I'm all right.
Has he got steam-powered internet?
Is it lagging for you guys? Yeah, that was a massive lag. Let me tell you, I said that ages ago.
Only lagging when you speak, Leon.
Let's play a game. Let's ask him a question and see if he answers the question before.
I know this is gonna. Oh my! Like, look, all I can say, is I know this is gonna reach you guys like ages from now. So do that, yeah. I'm only just hearing about the game part, and I think you might as well play that. And like, this is ridiculous.
I just want to know his opinion. That's it.
Well, ask him that.
Do you buy it? Yes or no?
Then we're just quiet until he answers it.
This is great streaming, guys.
Yeah.
Shh.
Everyone's gonna hit the screens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So, all right. Look, I think the good thing to do here would be to answer this question and then try and sort out this delay. So I'll cut away from this stream and then come back. All right. But basically, in answer to the question of should we buy vegan products from non-vegan companies, and I'm going to mute the iPad because that's delaying and coming back. Yeah, I think we should buy them because you know what? They're convenient, like what some of you guys were saying earlier. I'm so glad that like the Greg's glazed donut is vegan. That's like a really nice sweet treat for me, and I can just get it at any time. I can also redirect people to these stores and tell them, oh, look, have you ever tried, you know, this product before? Surely you've had the vegan sausage roll before, or why don't you try this option at Frankie and Benny's? It's fire. Or the Subway TLC. That's one of the best Subways I've ever had, vegan or non-vegan as well. So yeah, it really helps with me redirecting people to alternatives. So I think that's a really good benefit of these companies. Also, they're making the vegan movement bigger just by mentioning us all the time and putting it on the labeling, which is you can see there my the last remaining part of my fruit pastels. But yeah, I'm so sorry that my signal is trash, guys. I know I'm a lame sport right now, but I'll try. I think what I'll do is move downstairs closer to the Wi-Fi and just hopefully that works. Yeah.
I'd move
So
supplies
I'll wait
if I
for
were
a
you,
reply,
mate.
which will be ages from now.
You can't hear us.
Yeah. You'll hear that in a while.
Can you say that again, Liam? We didn't get that.
Wow. chaotic evil right there.
And I'm just still waiting for your reply right now. So even
Oh, wow.
you guys are probably
I thought
talking.
he'd be gone. Yeah, go on, mate. Log back in. I'll message him in the private chat.
Kick him, Rhys. Kick him.
Oh my gosh! Look, let me go. I'm gonna come back. Yeah, I'm gonna try and like go and sort this thing out and come back. But I love it and leave you guys.
This poor man is over here streaming from 2022.
Great. Okay, so we were talking about negative effects on the animals. Were there any points that we didn't hit yet?
Yeah, I thought the last question was opinions on the Beyond situation.
Oh, kind of a tangent off that. You're right, actually.
A comment on that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think on the negative effects part is like we talk about like, oh, are they gonna go and take that money and go and use it for other things? And use it for exploiting animals and stuff like that. And like I think we just have to be realistic to be like, no, that's not gonna happen. Like, I mean, in the short term, you know, they're not setting up separate funds within their company, probably going like, this revenue stream came from this. So now we only use that revenue dollar for this exact vegan purchase. We're only going to use that for crops. So in theory, could part of that money be going towards, you know, animal slaughter? Yeah, it can. But that's just not really how supply and demand works. Like, that's not the supply chain where it's going to be like, okay, all of a sudden, when someone goes and buys a vegan product from one of these places, that they're going to only use it for crops. That's not going to happen. They're also not going to take that money and, unless they're evil, and just go, haha, we suckered those vegans. Now let's go kill more animals for fun. Like, if people aren't buying the animal products, they're not going to keep producing them. That might take time. And I think that's what people like get frustrated with, because it feels like you're not making an impact when it's not all of a sudden like the entire Burger King line is not vegan. But they're just not going to take that money and keep killing animals if no one's buying them.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not how it works.
I mean, there is an obscure thing that's happening with the almond market in the US, and they've actually now got a symbiotic relationship with the bees, where the almond crops won't survive without the bees, and the bees can't survive without being actually farmed themselves. So they actually move hives over to the almond farms to sort of let them do the stuff on the almond plants, and it's like, if it weren't for the almond plants, they wouldn't be keeping bees. If they didn't keep bees, they wouldn't be the almond plants. So that's a bit of an obscure thing that's sort of existing now, because of our interference with nature. But so would that be on the same sort of level as Beyond Burger, sort of trying to sort of test it against real meat to see if they've got the right consistency? And I don't know, is testing already sort of processed meats? They didn't go out and sort of kill an animal. The meat's already there, so they're just testing it consistency to see. I don't know. It's a very grey area.
We do enter in a grey area.
I suppose with the Beyond Burger, the question is, who is it for? I mean, I don't think it's necessarily. I mean, it is for vegans, you know, it is, but you know, there's so little of us. It probably wouldn't make a lot of sense for a company to make a burger that was just for us. It's aimed at meat eaters, isn't it? It's aimed at meat eaters, and meat eaters don't want to taste something that is not. You know, they want that to taste like the actual product that they're replacing, and there's no way in testing to be able to test that unless they have the original item with them at that time to do it, and it's of no comfort to the individual animal that it's unwillingly sacrificed its life for this testing purpose, obviously. But so if these animals are dying, and I don't want to say it because it's grim to a vegan to say such things. But if you think if its life is being sacrificed, I know it's unwillingly, to test for a product which will save future generations of cows, if you see what I mean, then you know that's got to. Oh, it's a horrible. You know, you just don't like saying these sorts of things as a vegan. It grims you out. You know, you don't like it.
But you know, we said we play devil's advocate.
But you've got to look at practicalities. You know, they want it to taste like it. It's good. Hopefully, it will replace. You know, as time goes by, and you know, they perfect the texture and the taste. You know, the people that would normally pick up a burger made of cow will pick up one of these, which they are doing now. And long term, it will reduce the amount of animal suffering, but it doesn't help the individuals having to die today for that to occur, which is really grim to a vegan. But if you stand back from that and look at it from their point of view and the point of view of a meat eater who's looking to reduce their meat content, then it has to be the better choice.
I think we're living in a society now that is looking a lot more towards health. I think this karma virus has scared a lot of people into realizing just how sort of susceptible we are to disease, and we're becoming more and more aware as a world of I mean, we used to have peanuts in the pub that people used to go to the toilet and never wash their hands and grab a handful of peanuts. So you'd basically be eating
they still should
urine, Yeah, it adds a bit of texture to it, adds a bit more salt. But what I'm trying to say is that people are more aware than they've ever been now of how susceptible we are to diseases, and people are looking way more towards health, especially with the lockdown scenario. People have put on weight, they want to lose weight, they're looking at more healthy options. There's more information out there, so I think that's changed the dynamic as well in these last 2 years towards more healthy. And yes, it's aimed at plant-based people. All these mock meats and everything are aimed at primarily flexitarians. They drive the market. They're the ones who are driving the market, unfortunately. And they want something healthy a couple of times a week, so that is a driver of it, I personally think.
Mm-hmm. Just going back a little bit now to the taste testing, there is a moral loophole in veganism when you're talking about things like roadkill or perhaps a sanctuary animal that passed away, wasn't killed. Technically, we could find a way to be taste testing these products if it is necessary without actually causing a problem. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Roadkill is vegan.
Yeah.
So, but why would you? Eating, what are they, those mussels and all that stuff that they're sort of unsure about? Supposedly that could be vegan, but why eat it anyway? But
no, it's disgusting, but with the taste test.
With the taste test, yes, we could go down that route. Why not?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know if vegan yak's got. I'll just quickly say, but I'm not so sure because they normally kill animals at specific points. Now, I haven't gone into this tremendously, but is that because they want them to have a certain? It's like lamb. It's not the same as mutton. So if you wait for an animal to be at the end of its lifespan, and it's like 20 odd years old, like a cow, it's not going to be the same taste and texture, etc. I wouldn't have thought if they'd killed a cow that's a year or 2 years old, is it? I might be wrong on that, but I assume if that's the case for sheep, it probably works for cows as well.
I can see that.
And if they're wanting it to be as accurate as possible for their consumers, then maybe that would make a difference. But I don't know. I'll see what anyone else thinks about that.
Yeah, Vegan Pixie Warrior agrees with you that the flesh would probably taste different. We've got a few people disagreeing on the roadkill loophole. I'm not saying we would do it. It's so disgusting.
No, I'm not saying we do it, but I mean, it's like anything. If an apple drops off a tree, if there's a dead animal, if we go back to sort of how we used to be, we've not caused harm to anything. It's there. It's going to rot. I'm not saying it's a perfect scenario, and I'm not saying it's okay to go out and like. But what my point is that if we did go down that route of roadkill, would it create a market for people running things over?
Yeah.
Back in the day when they wanted like dead bodies to practice on for the medical industry, the people were going out and getting money for digging up freshly buried bodies, So
and I think again, also there is no road. I don't think there's a massive amount of roadkill cows. Or chicken or other creatures. It's a different kind of creature that you would normally see at the roadside. So
I've seen quite a few deer at the side of the road. A lot of kestrels and a lot.
Yeah, but
of birds,
if we're talking specifically about companies like like Beyond Meat, etc. They're not making a deer burger, so so they won't be able to use roadkill particularly.
Yeah, but I mean, surely they're looking for texture, not taste.
I think it'd be both.
Taste is manufactured. You know what I mean? We all know what meat.
Yeah, manufactured to be the same as that, though. It's the same as the thing they're replacing.
I think texture is what they're looking for in mock meats. Texture. It's not taste.
Can we ask Vegan Yak and Vegan Wujita? Let's just try to be a bit more thoughtful about sharing the time. I don't know how to say that in the best way. I'm being nice. Vegan Yak, we seem to have struck a nerve in the chat here. It's a bit controversial, this roadkill idea. What are your thoughts?
I mean, there's not enough roadkill to feed the population. So, that's never going to be a sustainable thing, even if Grumpy, they start to create a market for people going out there and trying to intentionally run over things, animals or people or whatever. But I don't think like if somebody brings that up in a conversation when we're doing activism or something, like I'm never going to be like, well, no, like don't do that or whatever, because they're not obviously being serious. So I don't think it really matters. But if we wanted to really debate it, I would say that roadkill it's like, again, we're talking about trying to avoid the exploitation and suffering of animals as far as possible and practical. And if it was truly an accident, or like Rhys, you bring up an animal that was passed away at a sanctuary or whatever, like that's not causing any harm to an animal if it wasn't being raised and bred for that purpose. But people start using cars instead of guns. Yes. I don't have any issue with that per se, but I wouldn't do it personally. I just don't view animals or living beings like that as food. So I wouldn't do it personally. Just really quickly, back on the Beyond Meat topic too, just to clear it up, like I think his name's Ethan Brown, the CEO, has said on record, at least what he said, is that he will occasionally chew on like animal flesh and spit it out because that's he wants to get the right taste and texture and stuff. But like, no, you don't have to do that, especially if you've already been a meat eater. And also, like, there's other people that currently already eat animals, so you could bring them in for a test group and you could just ask them to eat Beyond Meat and get their opinions on it, of how close it is to taste and texture and everything else. So you don't have to do it personally. However, I don't know that necessarily means that we should avoid Beyond Meat because he does that. I'm not sure that they're like setting up like groups of people and forcing them to eat animals as a taste group or whatever. I think the CEO has said that he does that. But even in some other vegan company, you could be having some employee that's a part of the taste group or whatever it is that's not vegan themselves, and they use some of their paycheck from that money to go get, animals and eat them. Like, how far down this rabbit hole do we go before we go like, look, it's a lot of gray area out there. You're doing the best that you can, so just keep doing that. And again, I think it just comes back to the activism part where we're like, what are we going to say to people when we're talking to them and trying to convince them to be vegan? Whether that's an activist out on the street or you talking to your friends, are you going to turn to them and say, yeah, look, it's great. Being vegan's not that hard. You can go to Subway, you can go to Burger King, you can go to all these places and yada, yada, and it's not that hard? Or are you going to take the stance that like you can't say those things because you're of the opinion that we shouldn't be eating from those places? Are you going to turn to them and go, look, you have to have your own vertical garden in your backyard and you've got to do these other things because otherwise you're not really the perfect vegan. And if you're not the perfect vegan, it's not worth it. Like, I think you've got to be realistic a little bit. Like, I think we got to be practical. And I think these products are a part of that practicality.
I was going to say, do you think that, because we've been talking about, like them having to use cows, they've been using, cows and whatever to do the taste comparisons. If they are going to do taste comparisons, why can't they use the lab grown meat?
Well, you got to taste that compared to something too.
So. Yeah. But that is actual meat though, isn't it? I mean, it's gonna, I mean, I can't see the bit. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want it anyway, but it's like, I would assume that it's, because it is the same thing, it's gonna taste the same. But you know what I mean. But I didn't know if that was an option for them, which then obviously no individuals had to sort of like unwillingly sacrifice their lives for the taste test. But it might have been an option. But I don't know what anyone else thought.
There are some
in
large
all
problems.
Seriousness, though. Sorry, I was just gonna say really quickly on that is like the taste test part of it. Like we all know the people that are not vegan that try vegan food, and no matter how close it would ever possibly be, they will still go like, this is shit. That's number 2.
Only once you've
It's
told them it's
literally,
vegan. Only once you've told them it's vegan, it's fine up to that point.
Right. Yeah. But
Yeah,
once
yeah.
you told them it's vegan and they know that it's a Beyond Burger or something else, even though it tastes pretty much identical, they're going to go, wow, this is totally different. And so it's like, how many taste tests do you really need to do to go like, oh, we got it close enough? Look,
Yeah.
we know Beyond Burger is close enough. We don't ever have to taste test and reiterate again. It's close enough. Anybody that's looking for that taste and texture can easily just go get that. So I think we could just end it and be done with the taste tests and all that sort of stuff. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it really ever was probably necessary, but yeah, that part is frustrating to me because it's like, we don't have to go taste test these things. Like, and it's not going to matter anyway. If somebody's really bought in for moral reasons and stuff, they don't need it to be exactly identical. They just need it to taste good. They don't even need mock products at all. They could be whole food plant-based. So we just don't need any of that.
I'd like to tell you a little story on that, actually. I think Mark's heard me tell this story. I was rushing to my drama class in Manchester city centre, and it was a rush, and I went into Greg's and I ordered a steak bake, and I got the steak bake in a packet. I rushed out the shop, pulled it out the packet upside down, started chewing on it. I was eating it and I'm thinking, something doesn't taste right with this. There's something sticking in my teeth. There's like stringy bits on it, there's chewy bits. It's not the same. And then when I flipped it over, it didn't have the lattice pattern on the top indicating it was like vegan. And my stomach bloated up for about 3 hours afterwards and whatever. But I could tell the difference straight away, and it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't pleasant. So yeah, there's not much of a point to this story, but what I'm saying is,
it's a good story.
What I'm saying is the alternative. I suppose there is a point to it. What I'm saying is the alternative to eating plant-based meat to real meat is that it's not as nice. Real meat is not as nice once you've got used to the plant-based version. It's easy to chew. It's tastier. You don't get bits of flesh and vein and sinew and muscle stuck in your teeth. Do you know what I mean? So that is the alternative to it. But so these taste tests, would they sort of try and replicate that sort of scenario as well? So we're never going to get it exactly the same, I think, is my point.
It's a relevant comment there. Wujita, do you have anything to add to that? What's your opinion on this taste test?
Like I said before, they can have my money when they stop doing the taste tests. But for the time being, like I said, I won't be telling any non-vegans to not purchase from Beyond Meat because again, there's too much of an obvious like betterment for someone who's already eating meat. Well, like what's the point of telling someone who's already paying for animals to die? Oh, they'll buy this one burger in comparison to this person who could buy, I don't know how many burgers come in a fucking box, but that versus getting a box of Beyond Meat burgers or sausages or whatever, and then that's a net positive. But for me, as someone who wouldn't be buying that anyway, I just see a problem there that I refuse to give my money to. Like I said, they stop, I'm all for it.
Would you not see a problem with buying, say, the Richmond brand, which also make animal-based products? They're primarily animal-based, but they also produce amazing sausages, bacon now, and mincemeat. What's the difference between that and what Beyond are doing? Is it because Beyond are fundamentally supposed to be a vegan company?
Hypocritical, I guess.
Partially, but for me, I tend to. I've actually stopped purchasing from companies where I know that they're owned by some larger giant that is this animal agricultural giant, just to keep
Trash Carcass is on the wine again.
Financially well off. That's a funny joke.
Oh, mate, this is why you never turned your camera on before. All the women flocking in.
Yeah. This is my life.
I think the point you bring up is actually interesting, but might backfire. And the only reason that I say that is because again, when we're in this capitalist society, most of these companies that are successful, that are plant-based, eventually are going to be owned by someone who's not. And you're saying, like, right now you're going to avoid those companies that are owned by them, but the companies that you're supporting that aren't, you're probably putting them on that trajectory too. Like, because we live in a society where most of these large conglomerates are not vegan companies, none of them are, and so they're going to be buying these companies. So just playing devil's advocate to you there, like, I mean, you're just not going to escape it. Like, I just think in this society, you're not going to be able to escape it. You can't live a perfect life with causing no harm. That's what I would say. No, devil's advocate, point given.
I think it's a perfectly valid. I mean, I think Vegeta was saying, though, and I'm not saying you said anything bad or anything, but as he said, though, it's his own sort of personal choice, but he would never tell anyone else not to. And I think that's the main thing. I mean, it's all fine and well if, as a vegan, you don't want to buy something because it's owned by a company you don't agree with, or because you've got a fear of cross contamination because it's been cooked on the same as an actual flesh burger or whatever. But but to actively go on to say social media or to family and friends and go, you can't buy that for that reason, that would be crazy.
For example, with myself, I don't buy from Gardein or Morningstar. Morningstar is more so because they just they just still sell this vegetarian nonsense after years of telling us they were going to go fully vegan. That's been hurting me since before I've come to my current position. But at the same time, my grandmother, if she goes, oh, can you get me some of those vegan burgers or those veggie chicken patties? And I'm gonna take her card. I'm gonna go over to the grocery store and I'm gonna get that for her because I'd rather her buy these plant-based items from this company that I don't fully agree with than go and get an actual chicken patty or an actual beef burger. But for myself, I'll go with what companies that I know aren't owned by these bigger companies. Or I'll just make an actual Whole Foods meal.
Yeah, you've already made this change now. So why are we trying to hold non-vegans to this much higher standards that most vegans are not even reaching? Yeah, if we're even saying it's a higher standard,
Yeah, but at the same time, for example, my father and my younger brother are vegan, so I informed them about this so that they can make an informed decision whether they want to support it or not. Like my younger brother, he heard about Beyond Meat and the way that they do the testing of the actual meat. He heard that, didn't want to support them anymore. I didn't tell him not to. I gave him that information. That's the conclusion he came to. My father, he liked to go with the Impossible meat. He learned about the animal testing they did. Now that he was informed, he doesn't want to support them anymore. I'm not like with vegans. I'll give them the information, and if they find they don't want to support it, that's fine. But with non-vegans, if they could buy a plant-based product I don't fully agree with, I think that's a positive that I refuse to take away from the world. But even if I won't necessarily fund it with my own dollar.
But what if, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I don't even know if I necessarily hold this position. But what if I challenge you and I go find all the companies that you buy from currently that are not owned by these large conglomerates, and so they're not doing these taste tests or whatever it is, but I go find out that 60% of their workforce is not vegan, and they're using all of their profits and gain that they get paid from this company to go and fund animal abuse. And that's actually more than Beyond, because let's say Beyond has all vegan employees, but the CEO does chew on some meat. Then what's the situation? Because the companies that aren't owned and aren't doing these taste tests and stuff would be causing more animal suffering than the alternative.
It's a bit like
I'm not saying that that's a fact.
By proxy, isn't it?
I would say if you hypothetically were to hand me some crazy, amazing amount, like accurate information like that, then sure, I would switch around. But without that information, I can only go off what I know.
Right. But my point is like, how far are you willing to research every single decision ever? And I think, again, that's where I come back to the practicality of things, where it's like, you might hear that about Beyond, but if you're not willing to do the same research into the other companies that you buy from, then I just think it's kind of like, how practical is it? You know, and I definitely get the point of like, oh, well, we're not telling vegans or non-vegans to not eat Beyond or whatever. But I think even for our personal shopping, it's like there's a good chance that probably some of the produce that we buy or something for some reason is worse. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like it's possible that we go into that research and we do that. If somebody told me about it, yeah, I probably would change my behavior. But am I going to go out there and actively try to like research every single decision I ever make and find every single problem down the chain? Or am I going to just do the best that I can? And obviously you've made the decision that this is what you know you're going to do for the best that you can. But I just think like, yeah, there's a good chance that there's probably just as much, that would depend on someone's moral compass, but it also just depend on how much research they're going to do into every single purchase that they make. I mean, and that's not just food either. That's our electronics. That's every single other thing, you know, and it's like, you're willing to take the stance on, you know, Beyond because Ethan Brown, the CEO, is going to chew on some meat every quarter or whatever to taste test. But what about the possibly worse destruction that's coming from some of the other products and stuff that we buy and that we use? So
you prompted me to think about something as well. What about the families with children who, let's say they've got 3 kids, they're about 8, 9, 10 years old, the mother decides to go vegan, she's a single mother, she's got 3 kids, she decides to bring her kids along to be vegan. You know what kids are like. If they don't want to eat something, they don't want to eat lentil stew and they want chicken nuggets, it's no point giving them lentil stew. You can pour it down the throat, they will not eat it. So these big companies that produce this stuff really, really cheap, that mother is forced to go and buy the cheaper stuff rather than go for the more expensive. You know, obviously Beyond is the most expensive, but do you see where I'm going? It's like some people are in a position where they've got to get these big companies' products because they're a lot cheaper than the other vegan alternatives, which are probably more ethical but a lot more expensive.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it. And with all of this, it's all sort of grey areas and stabbing in the dark. It's very difficult to know what exactly we should be doing. We can't follow the money. We don't know exactly what each company is doing. And that's what makes it different to eating animal products. We can see, you know, all this slaughter and things going on. That's what makes that easy to boycott. But I agree with you, Walter. Where do we end? Where do we draw that line? You know, we can't look into every single product that we own. It would be impossible.
We've got 50 years of marketing behind us. Very clever marketing.
Sorry. Sorry.
That was from 3 years ago.
Backstage, and I was like,
no.
Well, listen, I'm gonna drop off now anyway, because I'm starving and I've got 17 Beyond Burgers to stack up onto a massive bun and chomp away on. But thanks for letting me hack onto your stream today.
No worries, mate.
It's nice to meet Vegan Yak.
You're going straight away.
Why did you want to abuse me? I can stay on if you want to abuse me for 5 more minutes, man.
No, not at all. I just, I don't know. I thought I smelled funny or something. You know, I just came and you just going at the same time.
Well, listen, I'll stay on for 10 more minutes if we can.
No, honestly though, no rush.
Oh, well done, Leon. We almost had shot of it.
Don't let me hold you, from whatever you want to do and stuff.
Eat.
But yeah,
we're talking about food, and
right
he's like,
now.
my stomach's rumbling away now, so I need to go and feed the guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really interesting, and I'll just say this: there is a lot of grey area, and I think everybody should just do what they can within the budget. Don't listen to other people. Listen to your own self and what you think, and whether you think it's right or wrong. We've got the choices. We can research. Don't be lazy. Get out there and we've got to start learning to sort of cook for ourselves rather than keep having to go to these companies. So. But yeah, it's been great. It's really interesting. It's given me a lot of food for thought. Excuse the pun.
Nice one, mate.
Leave you. Nice to see you all. Thank you.
See you later.
Take it easy, man.
We're aiming for around an hour and a half, so it's nice for you to come in with 10 minutes left. But it's nice to have you anyway. It is nice to have you.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be here. So it's kind of working at the moment, and I'm just hoping it just stays that way. I'm listening to the StreamYard, not the YouTube. Pixie helped me over on Instagram, so I'm here. Yeah, so
Nice.
There's no delay. It
see.
seems to be working good.
No delays, exactly. Yeah.
Yay.
So
I'll put this this next question to you then, Leon. First of all,
let's do it.
Certain brands have tested on animals, like Impossible. I think 188 rats, if I got that correct. 188 rats died in the testing. If the damage has already been done, though, is there any harm in buying from them now?
It's a good question. It depends, again, where your moral compass is and what your intentions are. I do think that, for example, if there's like a barbecue or something and you want to like introduce some nice, tasty burgers to people that are there, then yeah, sometimes you might be susceptible to buying items from these brands just because you want to show other people other options. So, you know, sometimes by doing that, by buying these items and winning people over a little bit, can have a greater good. But again, it comes down to the company as well. Like, you have to decide and judge them based on all the actions that they've done and decide if they're still kind of a goodish company or not, and if you want to invest in them. I don't know, it's an interesting question though. Yeah,
that's it. I like that your example then was to introduce it to non-vegans. And I think, well, I for one anyway, I think that's acceptable. I want non-vegans to be eating the Impossible burgers.
Can you flash the question up again, Rhys?
Yeah.
You know, the issue is that some of the things are so expensive as well. So it's kind of like, even though, I want people to be trying a Beyond Meat burger, but then when they want to then go and buy it themselves and they find that it's so expensive, they're like, oh, you know, vegan food's expensive, and then it circles around that argument. So I do try and show people alternatives that I enjoy that are cheap as well and a fair kind of price, like things that I actually buy, because I don't actually buy Beyond Meat burgers, for example. You know, I don't know about you guys if you buy them often, but I don't really. Maybe have it in a restaurant. But like to go out and physically buy it, I don't really do that personally. So yeah, forgot where I was going with this one.
That's right.
I was going to say, Rhys. I mean, can you put the question up again?
I'll leave it up for a bit.
Down, man.
Sorry,
again. So certain brands that have tested on animals, if the damage is already done, that reminds me of something that gets said to me constantly. You ate meat your whole life, so you know, why bother changing now? The damage is done. You might as well carry on with the way that you were going. You know, and that reminds me a little bit of that in a way when I read it, because these companies may have had a bad start, maybe they've done things wrong in the past, and you know, like everyone keeps bringing up Greggs, for instance. They at one moment they had no vegan options that anyone knew of, and they've started moving forward, bringing out these other products, and do you just keep chastising them for how they've been, or do you try and encourage them for the way that they're going or the way they are now? So for instance, if a company started off say Beyond Meat's no longer, I don't want it to be the Beyond Meat stream, but say Beyond Meat no longer tested, you know, never chewed any more cows up. You know, that was them done. They were happy with the product. It was done. No more animals were going to be harmed during their products. Would you then go, no, you did something bad at the very beginning, so screw you, I'm not buying from you? You know, no, you wouldn't. You go, all right, I don't agree with how you've reached where you are. I don't agree with what you've done, but now you're on the right path, and I'm going to encourage you, you know, down that path. The same way as I would with somebody who used to eat meat products, is no longer a meat eater, is now vegan. I'm not going to go, you know, like, you've had a bad past, just carry on, you know, that's
exactly. No, I totally agree with that. And I think that it almost reminds me of a person who, like what you're saying, you know, was not vegan before and then gone vegan. I guess it's about if they then discontinue being vegan again and then become vegan again, then you question their moral standpoint. You know what I mean? And it's a bit similar with the companies. So if the company's testing and then they're not testing anymore, then it's like, okay, they're not testing anymore. But then if they then test again and do these other things again, and to the point of, like, you know, serious exploitation, then you have to question
Yeah, at that point,
the
you know, that's
moral
that's
compass
that's
that
when you're in
company
the John
is.
Venus territory, isn't it? You know, like eating meat, not eating meat, eating meat, not eating meat,
Exactly.
eating meat.
Yeah.
Then you question where
You won't-
their morals are,
thing is, you know,
you bring some.
I am inclined to agree with you that, you know, they may have changed their ways now, but we're letting them off the hook more than like animal tested medicines. You know, we don't say that for that. You know, we're not happy with it. We'll still take the medicine. Obviously, it's medicine, but we're not happy about it being tested. You know what I mean? So why are we holding? Why are we saying it's okay for a food company and not a medicine company?
Or certain food companies. I mean, I think like there's some people that might jump for joy as soon as like a makeup brand goes cruelty free, and they'll go, yes, I'm going to go buy, finally I can get this makeup again, or whatever it is. But yeah, they won't go eat Impossible, you know, and it's like, okay, well, who's done more animal testing in the past? Like, you know, and so I think like, I don't like that part of it. I think the Impossible part though, is partially because like, one, it makes people bitter because I think everybody wants them to be a vegan company, and then all of a sudden they don't kind of fall in line with that. And also they haven't taken the stance for the future. Like they have not, they've openly said that, like, I think Just and Impossible and some of these other ones, they're always like, if we have to test again, we'll do it.
Really?
And I think that's where, and I could be wrong, just so correct me if anybody knows for sure, but I'm pretty sure that Impossible has said that as like, you know, if we have to test in the future to get a certain product out, then we're going to do it, because that's what it takes. And it obviously didn't take that in the beginning. They had other ways of going around it. So I think it makes people bitter. But again, does that mean that you shouldn't buy it? And then you're all of a sudden like, you decide to go and buy from whatever makeup company as soon as they go vegan and stop testing animals? Like that seems crazy to me. So
do you remember when the company when they did that, it was an April Fool's joke, and they were like, yeah, you know, we're exploiting animals, and no, it was like what was it, like a whistleblower, right? This woman pretended to be a whistleblower. It was on April Fool's. I don't know if some of you guys saw that.
Yeah,
but
I
when I
remember
saw that, even though I eventually found out it was a joke, when I saw that, in my head, that was it. I was not buying from this anymore. So I guess I question why I thought that, because, you know, so because like you were saying, with these other companies that you were mentioning, you know, they tested on 188 rats or whatever. If I saw that, would I have also had that same thing where, in fact, no, I'm not going to buy from that company ever again? Because that's how I felt about this.
I could see how it would get to you though, because you've got a company that's you know, that's just making, you know, like plant-based products, and you know, and appear to be sort of like an ethical company, and then they're basically for an April Fool's joke, they think it's okay to sort of belittle the, you know, the plight of the animals, and you know, and use it as a joke. You think, well, where's your ethics there? I mean, it's not a funny matter, you know, and I could see how that would annoy you. It annoys me, and that's the first thing I've heard of it.
Yeah,
no. So
you should have saw it. I was like, what am I watching? Like,
because it's
I went
not
straight to
funny.
the comments because I thought, is everyone else agree with me, or is everyone find this thing funny? Like, what?
Yeah.
So,
you know,
but I've not bought from them since, and that's kind of like, not just because the food's kind of trash, because I don't really like their bacon anyway.
No, it's just horrible.
Yeah,
really?
But
I've never tried it.
I don't like it.
It's just tastes, it's cardboardy and a bit, I don't know, I've never managed to get it like,
I thought it was meant to be like legit.
Yeah,
fair enough. Okay,
but no, I don't know, that was my personal experience.
No, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. But now I just definitely am not buying from them. Like, I see them, and just remembering that joke just annoys me, and I'm just like purposely not choosing.
But so it's like Vegeta was saying, though, you wouldn't go out of your way to tell people not to buy them, though, would you?
No.
You know, so if somebody says, I'm
not.
looking for a bacon, say you thought it was a great bacon alternative taste wise, say you actually thought it was enjoyable, and even though you've got like now this personal preference for not buying them, you would, and somebody says, oh, I really need to give up eating pigs, you know, have you got any sort of recommendations for bacon? You know, if you thought the product was good, even though you don't want them, you would still recommend it. You know
what? That's a good point, because I think I would, but I think I would actually mention that joke though, just because it annoys me, and like the memory is so entwined with that brand that when I'm, mentioning their products to someone or recommending it, I think I would say it just because it's just on my mind. When I think
Okay.
this, all I think is that joke. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, I can understand.
yeah. But yeah, I think I would agree. Yeah, I think I would advise it though. Yeah.
Rashida, do you know what the topic is?
No.
Neither do I.
So, I don't know what the day is. So don't worry.
So, some companies like Impossible tested on animals in the past. If that's over, and they may or may not be still doing it, but if they put out a statement to say they're not going to animal test anymore, is there any harm in purchasing those products?
It's similar to the Beyond situation. If we can know that they've stopped and that they won't continue, I don't see any harm in it, because at that point you're not giving your money to a company that has animal tested. It's similar to like I see it similar to like anything else where animal testing was a part of its creation, but as it stands now, it's not being tested on animals. But at the same time, as far as I know, animal testing has not been officially stopped. I wouldn't feel comfortable giving them my money. But if they come out with a statement saying that they are, even if theoretically they're lying and conniving behind the scenes, if all you know is that they are not, you can't really be held morally culpable if they're lying about it at that point.
Is there a thing like when you've got because I've got kids, obviously, is there a thing as well? You've got to encourage good behavior if you want them to sort of change for the better. So if they are making strides to do the right thing, like in the case of a child tidied the room, then you give them positive sort of reinforcement for that. Whereas you go, well, your room was messy in the past, so you're still going to go to your room. Go on, go to your room. Because it was messy a year ago. Go on, bugger off. So no, you don't. Yeah, when somebody makes a positive change, if that's a company or an individual that then that really does need reinforcing and supporting until the time that the room's messy again. Then you can tell them off at that point. If you see what I mean.
So we are, I said we go for about an hour and a half. I'm happy to stay for one more question and wrapping up, so maybe 20 minutes or so. But if any of you want to go, that's perfectly fine. Are you happy to carry on?
I'm fine.
I'm good as well. What are people in the comments saying? Do you want us to continue?
Well, they want you to leave specifically, Leon, but the rest.
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
I don't blame
He's on
you.
now.
My signal, I know. Yeah, I managed to get it working. Like,
I just like to say while I've got you on, Leon. Then I absolutely love your channel.
Thank you very much, man.
I think you do amazing stuff. Good humor, good reviews on different products. Lemmy's a bit evil, but there we go.
Oh, mate, Lemmy, something else he is. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but good. Great work is what I wanted to say.
Checking Lemmy's, making sure Lemmy's not here. That's all.
Very enjoyable content.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Great stuff. And you're awesome individually as well.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it, man. I love you too, man. I see all your channels. I see you guys doing your amazing things as well. It's so cool to be a part of this community and just do this and see each other's individual perspectives and how they portray, their view on things. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. But thank you.
Here's some appropriate question. What is your parting advice for vegans who aren't sure what to do? And that'll be our last question.
What do you mean by not sure what to do?
Oh, about whether to buy non-vegan, to buy vegan products from non-vegan companies. Wujita, you've been gone for a long time. Do you think you can handle this one?
I would say that to just consider it through your lens of values. If you feel that it is what's most important is to make sure that these products are spread throughout the cultural ethos, and you feel like your dollar is enough, you're putting in your dollar will help, and you feel that that's important, go for it. If you feel like you don't want to support but the other things they do, so you won't give them your dollar, I think that's also valid. This isn't exactly one of those topics where it's so simple as
Yeah.
If you support it, you're a evil monster, or if you don't, you're the beacon of truth and righteousness. It's more of a, this is more contingent on your
Nuanced.
values and what, like how you process veganism. And I don't necessarily see it as wrong to try and support, go through the capitalist route of give them your money and they want to sell more of that product. I don't think it's necessarily wrong. So if that's what you think works for you, go for it. And if not, then you can join the cool team and only buy from the epic plant-based companies that are self-owned. You'll only be about 0.2% more correct, but that's just because you're on my side.
Brilliant. All right. Mooncat, should we go to you?
Only if you put the question up again.
Sorry, mate. I know you're getting on a bit, but
it's like it's this vegan deterioration. It's taking its toll, to be honest. So is my parting advice just for vegans then? Is what I was going to say. I mean, because a lot of these convenience products that obviously they're aimed at vegans as well, but we are a very small percentage. So I would assume most of these products are aimed at non-vegans, really. That we're talking about in like the Beyond Burgers and like the KFCs and all these other different things and the stuff in the supermarkets. So I really don't think I don't think there's any advice to sort of give vegans on this matter. I mean, I don't think there's a particularly massively right or wrong way you're buying these products.
Should we say sort of parting words then? Would that be helpful?
I think so, because I think there's two different things. You've got vegans, and we obviously maybe look at things more. Well, we definitely look at things on the ethical point of view, and whereas. Should I buy from that company? What do they do to the animals during the testing processes? What do they do with their profits? Do they have other revenue streams which harm animals? We think of all that sort of thing. So a lot of vegans will try to narrow that down and only support companies that aren't causing a tremendous amount of harm. But then and maybe the odd product slips in. Like they go and get a Beyond Burger or something else, or a plant milk in a rush that's maybe got a terrible parent company. But I think that the main thing is people who aren't vegan. My advice to them would be just always buy the plant-based option. They don't necessarily have to start thinking about eventually you have to start thinking about the bigger picture, I suppose. But initially, if you buy the vegan option, it is in some way going to be reducing animal harm. So I think they're the people who really these products are targeted at. I mean, I generally don't eat them. I generally eat fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, these sorts of things. So, it's not really for me. But I do appreciate that they are there to make everyone else's lives convenient. But I don't know. I don't think I don't think you shouldn't buy from them companies. But if you do, as a vegan or anyone else want to look into it and don't really agree with the other things they do, then I can perfectly understand why you do that. But I wouldn't tell non-vegans not to go to those companies. Like Wajita was saying, I would encourage them to still encourage non-vegans to go get these products, because it's got to be doing less harm, hasn't it? And I'm sure.
Thank you. Leon or Walter, if either of you are ready to go.
Yeah, I'd totally agree. I would say still go for it, still buy them. As long as it's vegan, then I'm not too, stressed about it. That's how I guess I would. I went to a party last night, and I was approached by a lot of people, because it was a friend's birthday party. He had a few of his friends there and relatives, and just people that I've not seen in quite a few years. And when I was seeing them last night, a lot of them know that I'm vegan, and I make these crazy videos sometimes, and generally I'm somewhere just kind of saying that message to people. They kind of know that, so they were asking me things like, well, what should I eat, or I've tried it before, and or why did you do it, and all this stuff. And what kind of things would you recommend to eat? So with these companies having all of these options available, I was, man, if you was willing to travel, you know. Now you didn't miss much. It was all right, you know. It was a good party. It just responded to the vegan gays, yeah. But yeah, yeah. Those companies given those options allowed me to be able to tell them, look, why don't you try this? Or I absolutely love this food, or I tend to buy this, or you know, Tesco's cheese is my favorite cheese because you know she was saying that, you know, what do you do about cheese, and you know, like, you know, because I still miss cheese and blah blah blah. So having those options available, yeah, because Tesco, would you say Tesco is one of those companies where they have vegan and non-vegan products, don't they? So technically,
Tesco has a lot of vegan stuff.
Would we
with their
boycott
plant-based
Tesco?
range.
You know, like it's kind of like you got to work
Where's the
within the
line?
system a little bit. Exactly, yeah. You got to work with the cards that you dealt, and then once they're more in the loop, then you can, you know, let them know this extra part of information regarding what the companies have done and stuff, and allow them to make those decisions on that. But definitely, for those that are not vegan at all, you know, just try it. Anything that says vegan on it, just go for it. Buy it. Have your own opinion on it. Let me know what you think. Try again. Do it for a week. Do it for a month. Don't just do it for like one day a week, like Meatless Monday. Like, let's, you know, just give it a good go for a long period of time and see what your opinion is on it, you know? And you'll see that it's obviously a lot easier. I want people to recognize how flooded the market is with non-vegan products and food and stuff. And I think the only way that people will have that experience of realizing how flooded the market is by going through it themselves and giving themselves this window where they are vegan in this window, and to recognize it so that a penny can click. Because I think everyone has different trigger reasons as to why they go vegan, what that penny was. So yeah, to quit waffling, I would definitely still promote them, unless they're crazy. Like, I won't be promoting this, like that still annoys me to this day, and I'm not letting them off for that one. I'm not. So I won't be recommending them, even if their bacon was good. I don't think I would recommend it, actually. Yeah, I retract from that comment. So yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
No, that was a good point.
Sell
That was
it
a
on
good point.
convenience, I was
Like,
gonna say.
if you're at the party there and people saying, "Oh, Leon, you know, what can I do to change my ways?" and they're they don't cook and they like burgers, and you say go buy a pack of lentils from wherever, you know, they're gonna buy the pack of lentils and slap you in the face with them.
Exactly.
You know,
they're gonna put a bit of salt in and try it with rice.
It's not
like,
going to work, is it? It's not going to work.
No.
So
I do tell people they have to learn how to cook. Like, that's one thing, you're gonna have to learn it. Like, it's a life skill.
So to be able to have these things to hand to say, yeah, go get this, go get that, whatever, you know, yeah, it's a great tool, even if it has negatives as well.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Parting words. Well, I think everything that everyone said has been great, and Rhys, thanks for having us on again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
I feel like there's no such thing as a perfect vegan. So don't let, you know, perfection be the enemy of great here. Like, just, you know, vote with your conscience, do what you can. But I think all the time that you would potentially worry about like taking it to this next level for yourself is probably time wasted. That honestly could be better suited for something else. Like, if you're already living a vegan lifestyle, you're already doing better than pretty much like 98% of the people when it comes to reducing animal suffering. So I think the time would be better spent to go and actually do activism. Like, go actually try to get someone else to even eat these products would be better. You know, try to live a whole food plant-based diet. That's great, you know, but just try to get people to go vegan and try spreading the word, I think, is more important. And I think that would be time better spent than you thinking about how you could be absolutely perfect. You know, if you should avoid beyond, if you shouldn't, whatever it is, do whatever you want to do there. But ultimately, like, go help the rest of the world, because if it was a world full of 100% of non-perfect vegans, that would be better than, you know, 10% perfect vegans, which don't exist. So I think do what you need to do, but go spend your time more wisely, hopefully getting more vegans.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I think as a an advocacy tool, these different plant meats are so similar now. I can't believe how similar they are. Meat eaters will eat them and not know that they're not eating meat. So to use that as a tool is really, really effective. Leon brought up a really good point that they are the good ones, the more realistic ones are expensive. So I don't know. That's a bit. I don't know what to say there. Really,
Expensive compared to what though, Rhys? I mean, are they expensive compared to meat?
Compared to Beyond is, yeah, it's like 2 for £5.
Yeah,
I think,
do you
in the
know
UK.
what? Yeah,
I don't buy them very much, you see, so I don't know how much they cost.
But that's also for now,
That's true.
As they
No, but I wonder
scale,
what their
things go down.
intentions are. I wonder why they're charging that much. Why do you think they're charging £5?
Well,
Looking at the product, that that didn't cost £5 to produce. Obviously, then they're going to have their profit, but I feel like they're making a good like £3.50 here. Like I'm wondering.
Oh,
if
yeah.
that-
Yeah, but I think that
capitalism.
I think that is just like Beyond and stuff, and some of the bigger ones. I mean, if you're talking some of the smaller companies like Richmond, they're making like their vegan sausages and etc. And they're of a very similar sort of comparable price to their meat based versions. If not exactly the same, pretty much now, aren't they? So I think some of these bigger companies, like what you said, they're just maximizing the profit. I mean, I don't know how much sort of development went to it. Are they just recouping a lot of costs from that? Did they have to advertise a lot more than somebody who has to? I take it there's a lot more advertising in the Beyond Meats, etc., than there would be in just like a pack of mince. Because that's sort of
subsidies.
Yeah, and all that sort of thing with the subsidies. So they're probably, if Beyond Meat had the same subsidies that the meat people had, maybe they wouldn't be a £5 for 2 burgers. It's a weird one, but I assume there's a massive marketing bill for companies like that as well, though, compared to some of the other companies who can just sell it. There's no effort involved.
But you were right to bring up like the Richmond sausages and things. Vegan Gaze just brought up the Noble burgers at Iceland.
Noble Burger, I saw that as well. I don't think
good.
I've tried their burger though. I've not tried that.
They are good. So I guess just knowing what's available in your area, try to think of things that someone who's trying to replace meat will actually go for. And it's nice to us, but maybe if you're looking for meat, it's not the same. After having this chat, I was kind of on the fence. I wasn't sure what to do before we had this stream. And now I think things are a little bit clearer. I haven't had an Impossible burger since I found out about the animal testing. I haven't had one since January, simply because I didn't know what to do. But since talking to you guys, I'm going to be looking out for a notice that we're done with the animal testing. And I think at that point, I will actually be okay with eating that then. So it sort of broadened my mind a little bit. And I like what you said. Don't let perfect be the enemy of great. Trying to be the perfect vegan, you're fighting an impossible fight, I think, at some point. I would like to know what everyone in the chat is thinking. Did your opinions change through watching this? Did they stay the same? What do you think? Is it okay?
The only opinion of the chat that matters is that I'm handsome and everything else.
Trash Carcass asked whether we could plug her live stream on Tuesday. The comment was racing past Trash Carcass. Could you just give us a brief on that, and I'll show you comment. Just for now, let's promote our channels. Mooncat, you've got 15 words or less to promote your channel.
My vegan channel is better than everyone else's. Subscribe.
Mooncat, who's next, and how many words do they have?
I'm gonna Vegan Yak, and he has 53.5 words.
That's exactly how many I need, including
Does half a word exist? Does half a word exist?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, does it. Good luck.
My vegan YouTube channel is better than everyone. No, just kidding. My vegan YouTube channel is slightly worse than the Vegan Mooncat. Come subscribe.
I like it. And you didn't even need all the letters. All the words.
Nice.
I'll donate them to Leon.
Okay. How many words have I got?
1.
Don't. Just don't check me out. Don't go to the channel. Don't do nothing like just continue your day. All right. Don't.
Don't listen to
Right,
me.
it's your turn now, and you have 7.2 words to use. So that's 7 and a fifth.
My channel doesn't have Rhys.
It doesn't even have you, mate. So
Doesn't matter. By virtue of having no videos, you are not there, and that makes my channel infinitely better than this. Go subscribe. Bring my channel to the moon.
Okay, I'll subscribe now then.
everyone is linked down in the description. So if you've watched this stream for free, by the way, that's payment. You got to go down there and subscribe to all of these guests.
Pay too much.
Trash Carcass said her stream is on Tuesday with Jeremy Hess. Veganism versus animal rights. Is it our movement or theirs? So go check out Trash Carcass too to see the exact time in your time zone. As for you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. It was nice to have like a really important discussion. Yeah, it was nice. I enjoyed it. Thanks.
It was good. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you for having us, Rhys. Honestly, yeah, nice little live. I mean, chilled. Nice one. Sunday afternoon.
All right. Lovely. I'm going to bed after this, actually. It's 11:30 now. All right. Take care, guys.
See you later,
See you guys
everyone.
later.
Thanks, everyone in the
See
chat.
you.
See you all later.
And don't buy from this, ever.